This video looks at the cool down element of the workout, and here there's going to be a pulse lowering component as well as a stretching component. And first of all, we're going to look at the pulse lowering activity, and this is always done on a piece of cardiovascular equipment. In this case, we're going to use the recumbent cycle. So notice here that the instructor is going to give a quick demonstration of how to use this piece of equipment, going through how to set the machine up, how to adjust the seat, how to adjust the pedals, etc. So notice the client is standing right next to the instructor at this stage, so the client can clearly see what is happening. And notice here the instructor has asked the client to come around the other side, just so the client can see the setup from the other side of the exercise machine. So now the instructor has started to demonstrate what happens during the exercise, going through some key teaching points, and also how to operate the machine. We're just pressing the quick start button here, and the instructor is showing how to increase the levels of resistance, as well as how to monitor the revolutions per minute, or RPM, which is the speed of the cycle. The client is taking all this information in, and the instructor has now gone through how to safely operate the piece of equipment. Notice the demo is very concise there, because we don't want to keep our clients standing around. We want them on the exercise as soon as possible. So the client is now going onto the machine, and is now making the necessary adjustments, and the instructor is closely supervising to make sure that these adjustments are made properly. The client is now ready to begin once the seat has been adjusted into place, so the instructor will be instructing the client to press the quick start button and make a start on the exercise. Now, just like in the warm-up, we're going to make reference to the aerobic curve, but in the warm-up we went up the aerobic curve. Now for the cool down, we're going to come down the aerobic curve. So we're going to start at a moderate level, so the client quickly gets up to a moderate intensity here. So we've put resistance level of about 4. We're working at maybe about 60 revolutions per minute on here. So the client is now progressing up to a moderate intensity, and now we're not going to go any higher. We're just going to now work downwards from that moderate intensity. So quickly up to moderate, and then slowly back down to low. That's what we're doing. So the instructor now is decreasing resistance and instructing the client to decrease the speed. Every interval, our instructor is saying that to the client. So every 20 seconds or so, it's instructing the client to take it down a little bit further, take the resistance down, take the revolutions per minute down, and make it nice and slow. So it's becoming a slower, easier exercise. We're not looking to increase, we're not looking to go faster or more resistance, we're looking to decrease. It's a case of quickly up to moderate and then slowly back down to low. So as you can see here, the client is now working a lot slower. The resistance has been decreased, and it's a nice easy motion now, just getting the client's pulse lowered back down. So we're aiming to lower the heart rate, lower the breathing rate. We're aiming to get the body back into its pre-exercise state, looking for it to be relaxing for the client, looking to stop blood pooling. We're looking to remove lactic acid from the muscles. These are some of the key benefits of a cool down that the instructor will be explaining to the client. And we will be using RPE here as well, so we'll be using the rate of perceived exertion, 1 to 10 scale. It might be starting on a 4 or a 5 when it's a moderate intensity, and then we're gradually decreasing that back and back until the client reaches more like a 1 out of 10, which would be a nice low intensity. So we can see here the client has continued to slow down further, so the instructor keeps decreasing that intensity, informing the client to decrease their RPM, going nice and slow all the way back to a resting level. There's nothing too intense here at all. We're just gradually going down that aerobic curve, gradually declining down the aerobic curve. Lots of communication all the way through. The instructor is obviously asking the RPE, checking the client feels okay, informing the client of the benefits of the cool down, and making sure that they're doing the exercise correctly. It's also an opportunity now for the instructor to review what's happened in the session so far and explain that we'll soon be going on to some stretching. A cool down generally would last 3 to 5 minutes, so we've just hit 3 minutes now, and the instructor is satisfied that the client has brought his pulse back down, and we're now going to look to finish by doing a little bit of stretching. Now in the warm-up we did dynamic stretching. We would not do dynamic stretching for the cool down. For the cool down it is more of a static stretch. Now when we stretch for the cool down, we want to hold this for longer. Remember, the warm-up stretches were about 10 seconds each. We want the cool down stretches to be more like 20 to 30 seconds each. So this particular stretch here, this is a developmental stretch, which means it's designed to develop flexibility, and this is for the hamstring. So you can see the instructor is demonstrating how to do that stretch, giving a demonstration and some teaching points, and then positioning the client in place to perform that stretch. So we can see the client is now in position and is starting to lift that leg up and take it just behind the knee and pull it in towards the body, stretching that hamstring muscle. Now we're going to get the client to hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds. As I said, it's a developmental stretch. We usually perform these developmental stretches on the floor, and we're aiming to increase flexibility a little bit. We can also do what's called a maintenance stretch. A maintenance stretch is more so to maintain flexibility, and we hold a maintenance stretch for more like 20 seconds rather than the 30 seconds of a developmental stretch. Note the instructor here walking around, keeping an eye on the client, making sure the client is doing everything properly. And obviously at the end of the 30 seconds we're changing legs, so we're now doing the other side. So it's still the hamstring muscle, but it's the opposite leg now. So the same teaching points apply. And the instructor will also be telling the clients the importance of comfortable breathing all the way through. We don't hold our breath during stretches. We must make sure there's nice comfortable breathing at all times. Notice how the instructor is on the move, looking at different angles, checking the client is doing this correctly, checking all the key points of the exercise are being adhered to. And that exercise stretch is now complete, and we're now going to move on to the next one. So notice the instructor is now demonstrating. This time it's a quadricep stretch, which is done on the floor. And this is going to be a developmental stretch again, held for about 30 seconds. So the instructor gave a nice little demonstration with some teaching points then, and now the client is going to do that exercise themselves. So the client is in position, he's going to start the stretch and hold this for about 30 seconds. Notice that the instructor is correcting anything that the client is doing that the instructor is not happy with, and is reinforcing key points. For example, there the instructor just informed the client just to relax his head and lie face down so his body's nice and relaxed. Holding this for 30 seconds, so the instructor is making sure that the client is in position and is holding the stretch. Knees are together, and we've now swapped sides, so exactly the same muscle but just on the opposite leg now. It's still stretching the quadriceps, and we're holding this again for 30 seconds. So again, the instructor is reinforcing teaching points. He's telling the client to relax his upper body a bit more there, telling the client to get his knees together, and encouraging the client to breathe all the way through. Nice controlled breathing at all stages. Okay, that stretch is complete, so the client is offering some feedback to the instructor. The instructor's just checking that the client found that okay and there was no discomfort. And now the instructor is slowly getting the client back up. Remember, it's important to get up nice and slowly. We never jump straight back up. That could cause dizziness. Instead, nice and slow on the way up. And now we're going to do a stretch for the pectorals, the chest muscles. So the instructor's just given a nice little demonstration there. And this will be a maintenance stretch held for about 20 seconds. Just maintaining the flexibility of the pectoral muscles. So see there, the instructor is correcting the client's technique, making sure that he's adhering to the exercise properly. And the instructor is on the move, looking at different angles, reinforcing all the teaching points, encouraging breathing throughout, and informing the client he'll be holding this stretch for about 20 seconds, working on the pectoral muscles. Notice the posture has to be good here, so the instructor must make sure the client's got a nice straight back, knees nice and soft, feet shoulder width apart, etc. So it's important that good posture is there. Okay, and that stretch is now complete, and the instructor is now getting some feedback from the client as to how that went, and some overall feedback onto how the client found those stretches.